Talk Shoes.
Recorded live.
Okay, hi everybody. We finally made it. We finally got David on the call. And hi David, how are you this evening?
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, great. I'm glad you finally made it on. I was going crazy trying to get you into this call. I don't know. I get confused with between the Skype and the Talk Shoe. Let me just tell everyone, if you want to ask David a question or if you want to speak, just press *8 and I'll unmute you. But go ahead, David. We're all excited about your document, and Ranger Ron was telling us about you're dead. What's dead?
You didn't get my email?
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? I can't put myself on mute because that'll put you on mute too, won't it? Okay. Yeah, I got the email. I saw the document, but for those that didn't, why don't you go into it a little bit?
Into the document or into
what exactly? Yeah, what did you do?
Recognition that the all-capital name David Clarence is deceased.
How'd you accomplish that?
Well, let's start kind of like that at the beginning and get around to this a little bit.
Okay.
Roundabout sort of the way. And Capri, if you'd stop Skyping me, I'd appreciate it. He's Skyping me on here. This is David Clarence, expressly reserving all liberties. I'm one of the original county notaries at York on the land, nation, Pennsylvania, next to the barfly-infested county of York Corporation. And you can contact me by emailing me at county notary, all one word, COUNTYNOTARY @gmail. That's Godmail, and our God is Almighty Yahweh, gmail.com. Please excuse that plug, but I'll stick it in there, Ange. I've been doing this research for you folks that don't know anything about me. I've been a researcher and litigator and historian of sorts for going on, now it's over 38 years. Now it started on 39, or it will shortly on the 17th. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little ahead of myself here by one day. My quest began September the 17th because of prison doors slamming behind me a long time ago for a crime that I hadn't committed involving some construction work here on Pennsylvania. And the quest was to figure out how that could happen, how you could be convicted in a court of justice for a crime that you not only didn't commit, but it never took place. In 1994, after many 20-some years of litigating in the barfly courts, becoming pretty proficient at doing that and such things, I was introduced to common law and had come to the realization, and most of you folks won't agree with me, and that's fine, that there are no constitutions, that lawful government ended with the Continental Congress retiring And government that I had been raised under and educated under was all fraud. 1994, I lost family farm, and I was sitting on the back steps of the back stoop of the farmhouse about 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, knowing that they were coming next morning to evict Mom and I off of the land, contemplating whether I was going to send Mom to stay with relatives and go to war with these people and shoot it out, or what to do, and frankly bawling like a baby and feeling pretty hopeless. And I'm sure a lot of you have felt this way, losing your homes and freedoms and things like that, and your families being split up and children taken away. And so I have a sense of what some of you are going through. But I started praying, and I made an accord with God that if He would give me the knowledge and discernment to understand what was going on with this system I was battling, trying to find justice, that I would serve Him, and so that's kind of where the quest began, to figure this system out and what it's made of, and how it functions, and how it does what it does to us as people, and we just have no clue as to what it is and how it's operating, and all the intricacies involved, and it's just a lot of mystery, a lot of questions and unanswered questions. So lost the farm, and kind of started on this quest, but the short time after that, actually a short time before that, I had actually started reading the Bible in depth, something I hadn't really done. I'd read bits and parts of it, but hadn't really sat down and tried to read the entire document. And before I had actually read the Bible from cover to cover, and I've done that more than several times now. I had read Black's Law Dictionary from cover to cover several times. And I'm kind of ashamed to say that, but in having a thorough understanding of man's codes, rules, and regulations, when I finally got around to reading through the Bible, I had I think a better perspective on what it was saying and things like that. And I'm telling you folks this, and I know some of you don't really want to hear it, but I want to give you some foundation and how you might repeat what I was able to do. I had first learned the maxims and principles of man's law, and the maxims and principles of man's law are all based on Scripture. See? And that's what I'm really talking about, having an understanding. So, fast forward to, let's see, 2005. I'd been working with some men here locally, and they had various experiences in getting into mischief and traffic citations and different things and local taxes. And one of them, Glenn Allen, had a history. When I met him, he had already been struggling with the IRS. Excuse me for a moment. For about 3 years, something like that, trying to avoid the tax. I'm kind of a magnet. I have been for a long time for people to contact once they've ran the gambit of the barfly court system or whatever it is, and they can't find a remedy anywhere else, and finally end up at my doorstep. But in either case, I had been listening to Race McLeod's broadcast for many years, and talking to Race on privately on telephone, things like that. And one thing that intrigued me that he talked about was that the notary was the highest office in law. And so I started researching that subject and found out exactly, he was exactly right. It is. Without the office of scribe or the recorder subscribing the oath of office, none of these so-called government offices can exist. And if you have a notarized document, no court in the world system, even if it's notarized by a notary public, can refuse to allow you to enter that document into evidence. And once entered, it cannot be questioned or challenged, the authenticity of the document. Now, you can challenge the contents of the document, but not the fact that it's properly notarized, if in fact it is. But we therein began our quest to unravel even further what this barfly court system was in the government, and if in fact it wasn't constitutionally based or authorized, and it's not, what it is and how it's operating and what's behind it. And I followed many paths, and I'm sorry to take up your time to go through this background, but I would like to explain this to you. I went through and experienced what I call a lawman. I being one, a litigator, a pro se litigant. I was involved with constitutionalists and lawmen like Right Way Law people, and followed their materials and this and that, and they evidently turned out to be the wrong way. They all ended up in prison. I actually knew one of the Montana Freeman and his girlfriend. They had been here at York before they got involved in that siege out there in Montana, to do a broadcast on our local Christian satellite TV network here just south of me, a red line, about 6-8 miles. And they were introduced to me by the host, who I'd known for years before that, the Reverend James Nichols, who was actually my mentor, common law. And so I experienced a lot of things. I know Hartford Van Dyke. Hartford and I had hooked up, gotten together back in 1993, and he was my mentor, and a lot of these commerce people regard him as quite a knowledgeable man, which he is, and one of the original so-called commerce gurus. I call them gurus, and they are knowledgeable people. So I've had experiences with all the different types of procedures that all you folks are involved in or may get involved in or have been involved in looking for a remedy. So when it comes to commerce and commerce activities, I've been railing against that for many years because I understand what it is and what's really going on. And it's not that, and I'm not saying this, I'm not even suggesting that the people in that I call the gurus, the leaders, I won't really rather not name them, but you know who they are. I'm not saying they're bad people or shysters or anything like that. It's they really just don't understand what's going on, and the type of contractual perspective that they try to apply to what government is doing or the courts are doing, and it's all really the bar associations doing it. They're running everything. It's not normal contract law, say, folks. They have this Bible that they call the Commercial Code, Uniform Commercial Code, but if you get involved in their activities long enough, you'll soon figure out that they're not operating by even those rules. See, they appear to have no real rules. Isn't that odd? That they have all these ethics and things like that they publish in their books that they're to follow, and they're supposed to be so forthright and upright and honest and all of this, and they're just not. And you soon figure that out if you get involved with them. And how can that be? It just doesn't make sense. But these pro se litigant procedures of just copying what the lawyers do, I call the barflies, mimicking them. They don't work in our courts, say. Sometimes they'll let a litigant win, and I have had experiences of that, but it's a hard row to hoe, and it seems like to be a good boy, old boys club, a good old boys club, and it is if you're not a bar member, even though it's not supposed to be that way. You can read the Constitution and laws regarding due process of law and court, and they're supposed to give pro se litigants a lot of leadway and a lot of respect, and consideration of their arguments and their position and things like that, but they just don't do that. The reality is they don't do it. So if you try to apply those procedures, they're hard, difficult to use to find a remedy. If you try to argue the Constitution, they'll tell you the Constitution doesn't apply there. that's where I was in 1994. Say, I had figured out why the Constitution doesn't apply there, even though there's an official sitting there on that bench who took an oath to it, telling me it doesn't apply in that courtroom. How could that be? The reality is there isn't one. There's nothing after the Northwest Ordinance, say, or very little. The real Constitution is the Articles of Confederation. But in either case, continue here. I got to give these commerce people credit for their diligence and their research and their tenacity of sticking to this quest to find a remedy, and I won't take that away from them. They're fine researchers, and now I can name them. I don't know them all. If I leave some out, then I apologize. Hartford Van Dyke, Winston Strout, Jack Smith, and I certainly don't want to leave out Elvick, say Walter Elvick. But their concepts and how to deal with this system is just defective. It's just they have an erroneous perspective of what they're dealing with. I was just listening to Dave Mack's broadcast earlier this week today, and they're talking about this new procedure they're going to use and they're going to implement and this and that. And I'm sitting here and I'm shaking my head and kind of chuckling because I already know it's not going to work. It's going to fail because of the perspective that they have. And it's not that they're stupid or they're wrong or intentionally wrong or anything like that. It's just that the perspective of what they're dealing with is defective, erroneous. And if you don't understand what it is you're dealing with, then all of your ideas and efforts and things to deal with whatever that subject is defective, say, and probably going to fail. It's not that it's anything intentional. It's just the way it is. You understand? So, fast forward to my meeting Dwayne Reedy from Christiansburg, Virginia. Let's see, that was 2007. And Regan and I hooking up, following the notaries. Regan came from kind of pretty much a commerce background and had a lot of involvement with commerce activities and things like that. And so did his associates that he brought along with him. And I affectionately refer to them as the hillbilly notaries. And they were trying to introduce me to, or get me to see their commerce side of looking at things, and I was continually rejecting that and different things. But some of the concepts that they tried to instill in me kind of stuck a little bit, and at the same time that they're trying to kind of bring me over to a commerce perspective of things, I'm trying to get them to look at things from a law perspective, say. And that the law that I was trying, that actually I use and have since 1994, is trust law. And that's really what the notary office is based on, is trust law or estate law. Trust law is the highest law there is. That's why the notary office is the highest office in that law, is because that's the law or the office by which the common law or trust law is animated, say, officiated, that creates documents for that type of law. And I wish you cotton pickers would quit Skyping me or interrupting my train of thought, and I only have one brain cell to work with here.
Just don't look at the Skype board.
Well, I said, do you hear that thing?
Yeah, we can hear it. Yeah, I can hear it.
Can you hear it?
Sure.
Or am I the only one who hears it in my headset?
But somebody here on the chat board is going, the dude ever going to tell us about the damn trust?
$80, the last one it just did.
Oh. Jackie, well, she's on here too. She's on this chat too. But let's get to the point.
But, folks, there's so many types of variations of law in the world system, and if you look at these huge libraries that these law schools have, and like the state law library up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, just enormous amount of volumes and words and things like that. And if you folks haven't had an opportunity to walk the aisles of one of those buildings and look at all those books and books and books and books, you need to do that. Just to walk through. You don't really have to take any books out of the shelves and open them up and read them or anything, but just walk through there and get a personal perspective of exactly how many written words are involved in what I'm about to say to you. And you should do that with a copy of the King James Bible in your hand. And after you get done walking back and through all those aisles, floor after floor, looking at all those books, and think about how many millions or hundreds of millions of words are in those cotton-picking things. Do you know what they're trying to accomplish?
Confusion.
They're trying to replace or outdo one book, and that's the one you got in your hand. That's man's effort to duplicate, on the flip side, in the world systems operation, how to replace that one book you got in your hand. And sometimes it comes down to where all those voluminous publications are trying to replace 2 stone tablets. And they'll never accomplish it. It's all an illusion. All those books that you walk by and look at them, it's all about an illusion. It doesn't really exist. It's all false. And if you take that and you can put it into perspective, and maybe you'll understand what I'm about to explain to you. When we come into this world, in the delivery room, or maybe on the way to the hospital, or whatever, eventually somebody's going to take your little feet and ink them up and press them onto a paper document. and apply your little footprints there. Those are your landmarks. Same as a landmark of your land or your property, of your homestead. Say, people, you can hear them talk about various landmarks, but you never hear them refer to your footprints that you can take your shoes and socks off and walk on the land and leave behind as your landmarks. The world system will never refer to that, see? And those footprints, they only want those one time in your life. It's when you're born. They call it a birth. They spell it B-I-R-T-H. Is it B-I-R-T-H or is it B-E-R-T-H, as in birthing a vessel? That's an interesting question. But they'll never ask you for those landmarks again in your lifetime. You can be a double amputee and be arrested for something, and the arresting officials or the jailers are not going to take your shoes and socks off and take your footprints. There are no FBI footprint cards. They don't exist. If you're a double amputee and have no hands, they will just write on the form the amputee. See? So they'll submit blank fingerprint cards, but they will not take your footprints to verify who you are or create one of their print records.
Why not?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. But they won't do it, and the fact that they won't, and you can be identified by those footprints. They're just as unique as your fingerprints are. That's something that gets my attention when I come across an oddity like that in how the world operates and does things. And the reason why it gets my attention is because I have learned over the years that an oddity involving the world is a remedy or some very important knowledge or discernment to our advantage versus the world system, say. Excuse me for a second. It's oddities that I see how the world operates that really draws my attention. But we're programmed and educated in a certain way, folks. No matter how much of a free thinker you think you are, the fact of the matter is none of us are, in relation to how we've been indoctrinated to this world system and how to think about it and how to regard it and how to function in it in our daily lives. And it's on a subconscious level how we react to certain things, like a police officer, asking you for identification, or a notice in the mail that this government entity wants its tribute, its taxes, say, or one of their officials visiting your home when you're just changing rain spouting or something like that, and demanding to know why you didn't get a permission from the government to do that, We programmed to react to them in a certain way, and we do it automatically without thinking, we regard them as authorities, see, and they represent an authority. And if you look at the world system, they build these grandiose buildings out of granite and marble and things like that, and they make them look so authoritative. They're the halls of government and the halls of justice, say, these institutions, and they are, because they're populated with mental patients. They're all insane, you see, because they're not halls of higher learning, really. They're halls of higher level of delusion, and they're certainly not halls of justice, as you'll soon find out if you've had any experiences in them. But they make them so grand, and it's because of the imaging that surely whatever is contained in there must be the authority, see. And you can't be, because you just have a lowly little homestead, see. And look at the comparison of the two, see. But in fact, the reality is that they're the interlopers, and you are the government, and you always have been. And it's for no other reason than you can put your cotton-picking prints on the land and leave your landmarks behind, and all of these worldly entities cannot, because they merely exist on a piece of paper that has no landmarks. It's just ink and type and letters, see. And the reason for that is because we are born and then birthed into this world system with an estate that we are in possession of automatically. And those landmarks in that document are proof of that estate. And it's an E-state, say, E-state. And I'll tell you in a little bit why I'm emphasizing that. And that estate comes from your Creator, whether you like it or not. You don't have to like it, but it's there, and He's given it to each and every one of us. It's a birthright, born right, say. The estate is set up for you in Scripture, and Scripture is all trust law. Trust law, if you don't get anything else from what I'm going to tell you tonight, I would like you to grasp and understand this. Trust law is the highest law there is. It absolutely trumps every other form of man's law, be it equity, commerce, treaties, which are laws of nations. Doesn't matter. Trust law trumps them all. When you're operating in trust law, none of those other various forms of codes, rules, and regulations in commerce can touch you. You're automatically immune from all other forms of law. When you're operating in trust law, you're in the superior law. There is none higher. And all of these barfly judges especially, and I believe most of the lawyers know that. They really do. In our experiences with this estate letter that we published to you folks to utilize, and I'll cover that here tonight. Our experiences with that letter is it's automatically given to the lawyer, and the responses back that we get from the letter is not written by some lowly government agent or clerk or somebody like that. It's written by the lawyer.
What lawyer?
Usually a solicitor. Say.
Okay.
But
is that what you did?
Yeah, that's what we've been doing. Mm-hmm.
So, but
I haven't used it personally because I'm not the one running around out here getting myself in mischief all the time.
Okay, but the title of that letter says it's your Treasury Direct account.
From the Office of Executor for the estate.
Okay,
right?
So how did you get that? What?
How did we come up with that?
Yeah.
I'll get to that. How we come to understand it.
Okay.
For many years, folks, I've looked at legal concepts and things like that from a position of the office, see, and not the individual occupying it. Because I recognize it's the office. It's the office. It's the office. It's not the temporary occupant of the office. It's the office that has the authority. If it has any at all, it's the office with the authority. The office of sheriff, say the office of mayor, police officer office, not the occupant standing there with the badge and the uniform. It's the office. The individuals, whomever they are, public servants or politicians, or just temporary occupants of the office. The office indoors, see? That's what I'm trying to get through to you is the office of God, the office of Lord, the office of angel, the office of man, and the office of womb man endure forever.
David.
Yes.
Do you have a Treasury Direct account?
No.
Okay. So
but the name does.
Okay. The name has a Treasury Direct account. And how does one go about doing that? And when one gets that, do they have access to it? Can they pay their bills with it? What is the purpose of it?
You're trying to jump me ahead.
I'm sorry.
I'm getting there.
Okay. I'll be patient.
All right.
Okay.
The estate is everything, folks, and that Treasury Direct acknowledgement that the name received is part of the estate. You have an estate. If you understand estate law is trust law, the highest law there is. The highest office in trust law is the executor or executrix office. It trumps every other office, including trustees. Executors appoint trustees. Trustees do not appoint executors. Grantors appoint executors, normally in a will, see? And then the executor may create trustees to manage an estate or a trust that continues on for a period of time or in perpetuity. Those offices that you see in government constitutions are all trust offices. The foundation of constitutions, Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, United States, and all those corporate state constitutions are trust law. Every one of them has to take an oath. I don't know how it is in all of the corporate states. Commonwealth of Pennsylvania oath that every official has to take down to the township, from the offices of the Commonwealth down through the counties and the towns, cities, villages, and so on and so forth, boroughs. They have to take the oath to the Pennsylvania and the United States Constitution, and that oath ends with the word fidelity. Fidelity means fiduciary, and it only applies in a trust relationship. So there's an estate there. See? Those folks are just to be managers over the estate. And as such, they have some very particular responsibilities and codes of ethics and things like that that they have to follow. And if they don't do that, then they're misfeasance and malfeasance in trust law. And for a trustee to violate the trust is the most heinous crime that one can commit. It's above murder in the eyes of law and even the barfly codes, rules, and regulations. That's what treason is. That's why treason calls for a death penalty. It's the same thing when a trustee violates the trust and their fiduciary duties. So go back and reread the state and U.S. constitutions, and every time you see the word state in those documents, stop and look at what you're reading and think about it and ask yourself, is that state being discussed there the state of Arizona, state of Maryland, or is it an estate? A state. Because I'm going to give you a little clue. Oftentimes in there, they're talking about an estate, an E-S-T-A-T-E, not just S-T-A-T-E. Go into Title 28, United States Code, Judiciary, Federal Civil Judicial Procedure and Rules, and read the section on sovereign immunity involving foreign states, 1600 series section, or 13, maybe 1300, I'm sorry. That Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act is being described in there as talking about an estate as immune. It speaks of foreign states. It's an estate, E-state. It's a deceptive word twisting by the lawyers. They're very good at this. Now I'll get down to the meat of tonight's subject, finally, and address Angela's questions and issues. After we're born, Mom, Dad takes us home. Shortly after that, you receive your first piece of mail. That's an envelope from the state government. copy of a certificate of birth in it. It's addressed to you. At least it appears to be. But it's in all, the name's in all capital letters. That is the government notifying you that in a state for your benefit and your protection has been created. And that certificate of birth, and you folks that I had messaged about this broadcast tonight, I asked you to have a certificate, your certificate of birth in front of you tonight, the driver's license, Social Security card, so I could cover those subjects. If you take that document and look at it, it appears to have your name in it, on it, in all capitalized letters. That all capitalized name, and I'll refer to it as the name. I call it the name. It's the name. Whenever I see it, it's not me. Is the name of the estate. And you know who that document is mailed to? The occupant of the office of the executor or executrix. The highest official over that estate or state. If you look at that certificate of birth carefully, you're going to see a seal and a signature on there. Seal has the office of registrar on it. I've seen dozen and a half various corporate state birth certificates or certificates of birth, including Washington, D.C.'s. Every one of them have had a registrar's seal on them. I'd be willing to bet that they all do. And this is why. If you look in Black's Law Dictionary for the definition of registrar, you won't find it. You won't find it in Valentine's, but you will find it in Bouvier's. And here's the definition. The registrar in Great Britain, just as in the United States, is the probate court. The registrar in Great Britain, just as in the United States, is the probate court. It doesn't say the probate judge. It says it's the court. What do probate courts do? They only serve one function. They probate estates, right, don't they? See? So that seal on there, and the government put it on there, and the occupant of that office signed it on a banknote safety paper document. It's a certification that that estate has been either probated or it's in probate. It's one or the other. See? And by transmitting that certificate to you, the living being, your physical location, they're acknowledging that you are the executor or executrix of that estate. And it has value, a lot of value, when you're just a few days old, and actually milliseconds after that's filed and recorded, a very valuable estate is created. And soon after that, it gains value. It never stops the whole time you're living, and after you're dead, continues to increase in value. Value of what? Well, actually, units of value that can be converted into various currencies, and it's literally the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You see. In fact, that's what most rainbows do. What's the Irish saying? I guess it's the Irish that at the end of the rainbow is a pot of gold. Say, most rainbows end, even though they probably can't zero in on where they come in contact with the earth, but if you could, I would venture to guess that at that point there is some man or woman there in close proximity to it, and they're the estate, the pot of gold at the end of that rainbow. Say. The government is, they take that birth registration, and through their actuaries, they calculate out how much revenue the government will collect from you in a lifetime. Now, some of us will be less, and some of us will be more. Most of us lead rather normal lives, and we just have a normal day-to-day job. And I don't say just, but that's what we do. And a normal home, and an automobile or two, maybe a boat or a camper or something like that, and don't really attend colleges and universities and things like that. And we raise a family and go on our normal lives. Others attend colleges, universities, and may earn a little bit more each year, acquire more things, and others get into business and different things and earn even more. And the issue in all that is how many documents you're going to sign in your lifetime that are going to be put into the world system through banking, finance, registration of property and land and vehicles and such things, and forming corporations, signing financial instruments involving banks and bank accounts, things like that, credit cards you're going to use, and transactions you're going to make on all those accounts, be it a physical paper document or electronic transaction, it matters not. It bears your signature of the executor to the estate, be it through using a pen or typing it into a keypad at a point of sale or on the internet. It matters not. It's the energy that you create through that effort that funds the estate. The signature puts value on the document. The document is worthless until it bears your signature. The document has no value until the signature of the executor or executrix is affixed to the document.
I noticed that the document that you sent us, it says that you how did you kill the name?
You keep trying to go back to that.
Well, that's what I want to know, how you did that. What is the purpose, and what good does it do? I'm sorry. Am I blowing your line of rap, David?
Are you what?
I said, am I blowing your line of rap?
Are you what, dear?
Am I blowing your line of rap? Am I blowing it for you, David? I don't mean to be.
No, you're just jumping me ahead.
Oh.
You know,
Okay.
I don't often. I don't get the opportunity very often to blab.
Well, you sent me this intriguing document, right?
Essentially, what?
That intriguing document that says Treasury Direct Account.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
Executor, and that you are that David Clarence is deceased.
And yet it's still, the name is deceased, and yet he's still the executor. How can that be?
Yeah, well.
There's no upper and lower case name for the executor there.
You're just the executor.
Mm-hmm. Of the all capitalized name of the state.
Okay.
Okay.
How'd you get that?
So.
How'd you do it? How'd you get that thing?
I applied for it.
No. What'd you do? Do you have a $250,000 account or what? I thought you had to have like $250,000 to have one of those accounts.
Well, the estate can acquire that account.
Okay.
Without depositing anything. It's already set up there for the estate to be able to do that.
From the time you put your little landmark on that piece of paper. Right?
Bingo. Well, from the time they create the files, there's a file number and a file date on that birth certificate of birth. That's the date that estate was created. It's not the date you're born. It's the file date.
Okay. And
the address of that estate is that file number on the certificate of birth.
Okay.
It's not the address that they mailed it to. Is the executor or executrix address. But the estate address is the file number. That's where the estate always exists.
In the file number?
Yes.
Okay, so what led you to, how did you, come on, don't give us the good stuff. Give us the beef of this whole thing. Somebody said that on the chat. Batman said, where's the beef?
Where's the beef? Met this character last November upon my return from that 90-day abduction in Club Fed. I call him the smart guy. He's a former banker and level 6 stock trader. And he understands this commerce stuff like nobody else I've ever met. He's just hand and fist over all these commerce gurus. And between him applying all these schmuck guy stuff and intermixing that or throwing it up against the dumb Dutchman logic, we've managed to figure out a lot of things that have been given to us by Almighty Yahweh, and we've been led to these past months. Literally spent thousands and thousands of hours on the phone and sending thousands of emails back and forth and things. Working our way through this quest. And the quest is to obey the commandment. It's in Ezekiel and Revelations, to come out of her and be separate from her, and the her is the world system. And part of, it's not predominant to us anyway, but part of that quest to come out of her is to raid Egypt on the way out, the same as the Israelites did. And that was our goal. However, Yahweh's given us the discernment to understand that it's not necessary to raid it because the estate is already there. It's already funded. And it's operating in this law form that's superior to every other type of various man-created laws, codes, rules, and regulations, such things, commerce.
Do we write the Treasury or something? And what? How do we get one?
Yeah, you could.
Gee, I had the thing on. The thing was on mute.
What thing? What thingy?
I had my thingy on my phone here on mute. So I hope. Did you all hear him, or what? Was it muted? I guess everybody could hear you still. I don't know. Last call. She did. Oh, yeah. You know what? I let Batman on all the time, and I told him I'd have him on a call, and we will do a call with Batman one of these days. Tonight it's David Clarence's night, okay? So get off it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, David. I want to know, how did you get the damn account going? How do we do that?
You keep dropping out, dear.
I do?
Your sentence just finished, I want to know, and then I couldn't hear what you said after that.
I want to know, like everyone else wants to know, how do we get the Treasury Direct account that you have?
There, you dropped out again. I heard, how do we get, and there was silence.
Oh, geez, I don't know. I don't understand why that's happening. How do we get the Treasury Direct account?
Just apply for it.
And do you have to have, but when they say you have to have $250,000 to put into that account, what, are you just telling them, take it out of my estate, or what? I mean.
No. They'll open the account for the estate. They have to. Okay.
How do you do that?
Because everything that's backing up all the financial dealings of the United States are these estates. After President Kennedy was assassinated, about a month or so after that, I remember this vividly. It was one of these oddities that caught my attention and stuck in my memory. President Johnson got off Air Force One on tarmac. I think it was Andrews Air Force Base. I'm not sure. They had a podium set up there for a little photo op, and he made an announcement that they were changing the currency and abandoning the silver certificates, and the Federal Reserve was going to issue new currency. And a reporter asked him, and I suspect it was probably staged, but in either case, a reporter asked him, Mr. President, what's going to back up the new currency? What's going to guarantee the new currency? And he said these words, the new currency will be backed by American industry.
Well, that's nothing new.
No, not now to us, because of the efforts of the commerce people. We've come to understand that he was probably speaking of the Social Security accounts or the estates. And in fact, that's what he was talking about. He didn't mean that GM or Ford or Boeing was, AT&T was backing new currency. It was you and I with our signatures on documents, whether we know it or not, functioning in the office of executor or executrix for the estates, creating the credit, the energy, that the United States is the debtor to. All debts are of the United States. See, they tell us that.
Right.
So who is the United States indebted to? Well, they mislead us into believing it's the Federal Reserve, and it's not. It's to the estates of each of us individually.
They owe us big time. Yeah.
See,
I agree.
Those foreign states described in Title 28 with the sovereign immunity. See, the creditor has immunity from the debtor. The debtor can bring no claim against the creditor as long as there is a debt. It's a slave-master relationship. See? Now, a creditor could injure a debtor and be sued and be liable for it. I'm not saying it can't, but as long as the provisions of the contractual relationship are followed, the debtor can have no claim against the creditor. See? So, but day in and day out, we're fraught with these claims. Or the appearance of these claims from the government and banking industry and so on and so forth. But they're all just illusions that the debts have already been paid. See? And the office of the estate is the creditor. This is how they trick us, folks. It's so simple, it's just ridiculous. Excuse me.
So what'd you do, David? You wrote a letter?
Capitals.
Yeah, we know.
And they send it to you, and they deliberately leave one or two words, one of two words off the back of that all capitalized name, and they do this on purpose. And the they that's doing this are the damn lawyers, the barflies. Mm-hmm. And the words that they leave off the back of that all-capitalized name is either the word estate or the word executor.
I see.
Every time you get mail from a government or financial agency or something that is something other than private personal correspondence, and they have your name in upper and lowercase, they're writing to the executor, the occupant of the executor office.
So if you respond back to them as the executor, that will trigger the correct response from them back? I mean, to address you as the estate executor?
Yes. It's not something they're going to automatically do. Proof of that is everything they've ever sent you, no matter what it is. Never has the word executor or executrix. If you put it there, and only you can do that, now you change the relationship of whatever entity that you're dealing with. And I'm not talking about personal correspondence. I'm talking about with government, banks, tax collection agencies, whether it's the IRS or local or whatever, financial institutions. You now change the relationship to where you're notifying them with just those one of two words, estate or executor or executrix, that you're the creditor and they're the debtor. And until you do that, they won't treat you as such. Throughout our lives, they're raiding your estate. and actually populating it with units, increasing the worth of the estate in doing it. But for many years, we've realized that these barflies in the black dresses are administering something from the bench. And what they're administering is the estate.
Yeah.
And the reason they're doing that is because they're interacting with the executor or executrix of the estate that doesn't know that they are. And it's not their duty to tell us that we are. They have no duty to tell us that. They may have a moral duty, but they don't operate under moral duties. Since we're not cognizant of our true capacity and role, and are not functioning in the office, they treat us as a trustee who's in violation of their trustee duties, and they penalize you for doing that.
Mm-hmm.
They jail you, or imprison you, or fine you, take your home, take your children,
right.
your wife. If you're the husband, and women aren't going to like this, but the wife, in taking the name of the husband, puts her estate under his estate. And all the proceeds from that joining of those estates are under the husband's estate. Now she's a co-executor or executrix in a relationship. But the children cannot be taken by children and youth if you function in the office of executor. Fathers, they can't do that because those children are trust property. They're assets of the trust. And if you don't believe it, get the long form birth certificate and look who's listed on there.
Ooh, it's your mother, your father.
Your mother and father. The estates of the parents are listed, not the mother and father. The all caps name estates are listed on there. That child, that estate that's just been created is underneath the master estate of the father and the mother, who are under the master estates of their mother and father, who are under their master estates of the grandmother and the grandfather and the grandmother.
So what did you do, David?
The master estates of the great-grandfather and the great-grandmother.
We got it.
And it goes all the way back to the master estate of Adam and Eve.
So you sat down one day and just decided you were going to write this letter to the Treasury, or
yeah,
what?
You just dropped off. It ended with, I sat down one day.
Yeah, so what? You just sat down one day? I think because...
Am I breaking up?
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it's when we try to talk over each other, maybe it interferes. I don't know.
Okay.
But
finish your question.
I was going to say, so what'd you do? Just sit down and write a letter one day to the Treasury, or?
There, your sentence ended with the word just.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, don't even breathe on your mic for a second. Let's see if that makes a difference.
Hold it, I'll mute myself out.
Well, it says, even on the chat they're saying I just dropped out. I don't know why that would happen. I asked what happened. So one day you sat down and wrote a letter to the Treasury one day and asked them what?
See, you dropped out again. I can't understand your question.
That's so weird.
Just one day. It ended with just one day.
You sat down.
Okay, I think you're trying to ask me. I just sat down one day and this came to me.
And wrote a letter or what?
No, I didn't do that. this quest to come out of her, like I said, began with Timothy and I meeting, and he was intrigued by our concept of the office of man and woman. That's what drew him to us. He has a scriptural foundation, and I know most of you folks aren't really interested in this part. And you're going, where's the mate? But as we've already told you previously on our notary broadcast on Talk Show, and the archives are still available. And if you folks don't know where they are, send me an email, and I'll send you a response. And in that response will be a link to archives.org, where our previous Talk Show broadcasts are located, or they're on the RSS feed. If you just type in A Voice of Freedom or County Notary on iTunes or RSS feed, they'll come up. The foundation of all this is already in there. All right, Destry, cut it out. You keep interrupting me with your Skype chats. And we've already given you. Destry's telling me that you're not blanking out on his end. So the folks are hearing you. It's just that I'm not hearing you, Angela.
Yeah, I think it's something between our
question,
our call, or whatever.
Yeah, but as a result of my being involved with the Hillbilly Notaries, they kept coming up with this concept of getting a DOT number as a way to be able to travel on the highways and not be molested by the revenuers out there. And initially I wasn't interested in it and rejected the idea and this and that, and until they brought it up the third time. When something is brought to my attention 3 times, it gets my attention. I stop and say, "Oh, wait a minute, what's going on here? Maybe something I should be looking at." But in either case, I went on the DOT website and obtained a DOT number, and using the Dutchman logic, everyone else had a private motor carrier designation on there. Destry, please stop that. You're interrupting me here. It's blasting in my ears. But I was able to obtain a registrant status, and I'm going to go into how I did that. It's already in our file section in Google Groups and in our previous archives,
right,
and on Angela's broadcast previously. But that led to obtaining a registrant status, and then that led to our being able to obtain law enforcement access on the Department of Transportation website by having what I refer to as the master number to enter in as the badge number on the DOT. What is the master number? We don't really know. It appears to be a number like a Swiss bank account number. It's if you have a secret Swiss bank account, you don't give your name to access that account. You just give the number. The number, having the number, is your identification to be able to access the account. They're not looking for a photograph or picture ID or anything like that to access that, and it could be billions of dollars in the account. It doesn't matter. Having the number is your identification and your authority to access the account. Well, the master number appears to be something similar to that or on the same plane. And we believe that it's the master account for the estate that was created, capitalized name. In either case, we've been, since we were able to accomplish that, we've been experimenting with that and attempting to access the funds, resources, financial resources, and involved with that ever since. And no, we haven't been successful yet. Or I'd be speaking to Angela from Northwest Montana tonight and not South Central Pennsylvania. But the name, the all caps name, David Clarence Schroll, was able to obtain access to resources on the DOT website that normally don't appear there for you when you just go on there surfing the web. Then the all capitalized name was able to obtain an EIN number for the name. That EIN number starts with a 98, thereby designating that entity, the all capitalized name, as a foreign entity, and your estate is always foreign to the United States and its states. That's why it's immune under the Foreign Sovereign Immunities Act. That's an acknowledgement that the estate is immune because the estate is the creditor. Then that 98 EIN number is acknowledgement from the IRS that the name has no reporting or payment tax liabilities to the United States or its states. If you're immune from taxation by the IRS, then you're immune from the state and the local revenuers also.
Okay, so does that position you now have with that Treasury Direct account?
Now you broke up again. So,
does the position you now have with your Treasury Direct account make you invisible to them?
No. You cannot destroy the name. The estate you cannot destroy. You will not do that. These efforts by these folks to get rid of it, to have it erased, to remove it from all records expunged, you will never accomplish that, ever. There's no way to do that. Not in the world system. The best you can do, and it's really the best position, is function in the office of executor or executrix for the name, and thereby doing that, you deny everybody else from having a presumption of authority to administer anything involving the estate. It is immunity. The barflies sitting up there on the bench, and the ones in their offices walking around with their briefcases, and the bankers and the collection agents and the IRS and your local tax revenuers and zoning officers and children and youth
Hello?
Officials, children and youth officials.
I thought we lost you there for a second.
No, I muted myself out to clear my throat. Children and youth officials cannot administer anything having to do with that estate any longer. They can't, because they're just presuming to have the authority. They're just pretending to have the authority to do that. That's what they've been doing to us our whole lives. is they're presuming to have the authority to administer the estate when they have no letter of appointment from the executor or executrix office, see. And the letters that you see that we've given you as examples, and I hope none of you folks have used that yet, but because you need a little more background on how to use it properly, that letter is calling them to task. Where is your written authority to administer for the estate? Provide it. They know they can't. The they I'm talking about are the lawyers. They don't have the written authority. They haven't been appointed as a trustee. And they certainly can't occupy the office of executor or executrix because there's only one individual who can do that, and that's you. Proof of that is if mom and dad are dead, passed away, you're the only one that can go to the state and get an original certificate of birth. Or someone with your power of attorney, which is the executor's power of attorney, to do that. The authority must originate from the executor or executrix office to get an original certificate of birth. See? I don't know everything, and I don't have that much experience with probate courts, family courts, and things like that, but I've never heard of a court ordering the state to issue a certificate of birth. I've just never heard of that. I think that that's a function of the executor or executrix office that these barflies won't presume to have authority to function and to do, is order that.
So have you used it yet?
What?
Your executor position.
I'm using it all the time. Dealing with the government, dealing with Treasury, dealing with the DTC, dealing with the Federal Reserve. And I'll get to that.
Okay.
But you folks are the ones with all the authority. All these other efforts, these patriot efforts, these tea parties, whatever it is, it's all a waste of your time. It just is. It'll lead to nothing. You will not get a remedy in doing those, participating in those activities, and I'm not taking away from that they're all well-meaning folks and well-intended and things like that, but you cannot function in those capacities because by operating in those capacities, pursuing those things, you're abandoning the estate in your executor or executrix office. Because why would you be petitioning? Why would you be demonstrating against the debtor when you're already in the creditor's position? See? If you have a representative in government, a legislator, where he considers you to be his constituent, he's not interacting with you as the executor or executrix of the estate. He's looking at you as the debtor when you're not. He is. And the office he occupies is the debtor to your estate. The name, when I speak of the name, all capitalized David Clarence Schroll, obtained an NCAGE number from NATO, registered with NATO as a foreign entity to NATO. If you look at this Treasury Direct acknowledgement, that's addressed to the nation, Pennsylvania. Imagine that. Ain't the state, ain't the Commonwealth. It's the cotton-picking nation. General Post Office, United States Minor Outlying Islands. Did you know that you were located on an island on that nation state that you're standing on your landmarks?
No, but I found that really interesting.
You are. The United States Minor Outlying Islands are not out there in the Pacific. Barflies tampered with that phrase, I believe, when they codified it, and they dropped a comma out of it. I've thought this since probably around 1994, that it properly written, it should say United States Minor, comma, Outlying Islands. By introducing the comma into that phrase, now you put it in its correct and proper perspective that the United States, the District of Columbia, is minor to the outlying nation islands. See? Treasury recognizes that. NATO recognizes that as a bona fide mailing location. They ask me on the internet for the country. And one of the selections that they give me is United States Minor Outlying Islands. And when I have Nation, Pennsylvania, General Post Office, and I put -9998 following the zip code for York, Pennsylvania, those entities recognize that as a foreign nation, the country. That's not some patriot gobbledygook. It's there on the websites. You can select it. Not in everything you'll sign up for on the internet, but involving government, it will, or banking. Now, the name, David Clarence Schroll, registered with the Federal Reserve a couple of weeks ago, on the same level as your local bank, be it Chase or whatever. Same operating level, only the name is a foreign entity to the Federal Reserve. It's not a domestic financial institution. And it's recognized as being the country. Where it's located is United States Minor Outlying Islands. Even though they're mailing things to York, Pennsylvania. See? What does that mean? Well, there's some paperwork that has to be completed, and that's done and actually ready to mail now. And the name is going to have the same level of access to the Federal Reserve System as your local bank. That means e-transfers, phone transfers, QSIP searches. The only thing that the name is not going to do is it's not going to be a currency custodian. Because in that capacity, you would grant the auditors from the thrift, from the Fed, to come in and audit your vault and count the currency. Besides, you'd have to be a complete idiot to want to warehouse Federal Reserve notes because they're not worth anything, right?
Let me ask you a question, David. So let's say Jim Jones is got a hearing coming up. He's being tried for bank robbery, whatever. How would he use this to deal with a court situation?
I don't know because I have no experience, but this is my best guesstimate that it would behoove all of you, and I urge you to do this, is abandon all these other concepts of how to find a remedy in dealing with the government and try this. I know what I'm asking you to do. And
try what?
for it to be successful, you're going to have to own it.
So try what? How do we try it?
All right. Okay, just wait a second.
We're almost at the 2-hour mark, David.
Is that the end of the broadcast?
Well, we can keep going. I would like to, get to how to use this.
Well, I'd be there already if you wouldn't have interrupted me.
Oh, sure. I have to start poking you in the ribs.
Folks, you got to operate in the office that's given to you.
Okay, so we're going to be all operating in the office of Executor or Executrix.
Yes.
So by doing that, all we have to do is add that, what, to our name or?
Yes, that's what you do. It's just as simple as that.
I see.
You add exactly what's on our letter, our PDF file letter that we posted out there and put in the file sections of the county notary highest office and all Google group.
Right, and I've been flashing the link to it right along.
Yeah, it's the letter from the estate, the all capitalized name estate, by the Executor office. It's not you doing that. You've got to get this in your mind. It's not you doing it. It's the office of Executor or Executrix doing this, communicating to the office of the individual that sent you the paperwork, the abandoned paperwork. It's not the individual, the office. Whenever you take, and experience has taught us this, whenever you take the position of defendant or respondent to the individual occupying the office, you always lose. No matter what the subject is. You're always going to lose. You're always at a disadvantage. Step up to your true office and authority.
Okay,
and operate from the Executor or Executrix office.
If you were going to sign off on a letter, how would you sign? Go ahead.
If you're called into court, you're already involved, and you got to show up tomorrow morning, you've got to put a new face on. Do not go in there and respond as a defendant, because they're trying to, the lawyers are trying to trick you into being the debtor when you're the creditor. And if the judge is going to be able to yell at you, the barfly, he's not a judge. He's just an administrator of a barfly, private barfly proceeding. It's not even a constitutionally authorized court. None of them are. If he's going to succeed by yelling at you and threatening you, then don't do this.
Okay, has anybody used this already? Is there someone is asking on the chat?
No, nobody's been into court and confronted anybody with this concept. We have a few letters, instances, we've responded to them, but this is what you would be the guinea pig, but I'm not sending you out there amongst the wolves without any armor.
Okay.
Okay? I've been doing this a long time, folks. I don't know everything there is to know. I certainly never will, okay? But I have this understanding that I've been gifted with of what works and what doesn't work. And what I'm telling you is based on over 38 years of research and experience and operating in their barfly courts and things. See?
So you would sign a document as the office?
If you're already called into court, you're already in the third day of the trial, you appear that next day as executor or executrix, and you make that known to the court. Don't tell your lawyer, if you have one, that you're going to do this. Don't warn them. Do not warn anybody that you're going to do this. You just spring it on them. I'm telling you that when you confront that barfly up there on the bench, that you are there as executor or executrix of the estate, and you're challenging his authority and the other lawyers there, authority to administer the estate, to provide the written authority for them to do that. They will retreat. They will run from you because they're dealing with the creditor. You're now in their mindset, you are God, calling them into Judgment Day.
Wow.
I'm not saying you are, but this is the position that you hold doing this in the way they view you. You are God because you are the creditor, and they know they're the debtor. I'm telling you, these lying lawyers they know this stuff. They understand that they're dealing with estates. And we've got 2 letters proving it. One from a court administrator involving a notice to appear for jury duty. And he's a lawyer, and he works for the judges of the county of York. And the other one is from a township trying to collect a refuse bill that they just instituted out there in the suburbs and farmland, say. Trying to collect a refuse bill. They want a farmer to pay to have his garbage picked up. Farmers don't have garbage, folks. You know, they just don't.
Yeah.
It's not city. Both of those responses came directly from lawyers.
Okay.
Both of them. And both of them retreated.
Wow.
That lady was told that her request to be excused from jury duty was granted.
Wow.
She didn't request to be excused from jury duty.
Oh.
She challenged them. Where is your authority to administer the estate?
Oh, I see.
By writing to the executor or the estate and demanding that the creditor perform some service for the debtor.
Wow.
They don't have it. They know they don't. And when you call them on it, you are in their mind God Almighty, yelling down from the kingdom, what do you think you're doing? And the township reply, it's not signed by the solicitor, it's signed by the lady there at the township, but you can tell by the wording of the document that the lawyer wrote it, the solicitor wrote it. The previous notice that they got was they were going to turn the refuse bill over for collection. In the last communication, there's no mention of a refuse bill being due, past due, or up for collection.
Wow.
There's no mention of a refuse bill at all. And there's never going to be again. It would surprise me if they even get a tax notice.
Wow.
The zoning officer from the township will never step foot on that farm.
David, are you prepared to take some questions?
Is it going to hurt?
No. I don't think so. Anyone, if you have a question for David, press *8.
Before we do this, folks, I'm not going to personally tutor you. I don't have time to do that. I'm sorry. I just don't. We have got to stay focused on our projects so that we can come up with this information for you folks so you can use it.
Well, if you would tutor me, I would be greatly appreciative, and I could then teach everybody else.
Can I breathe into the phone?
Yeah. You can even talk dirty to me. Okay. We have some people lined up to ask you a question, David. How about it?
Okay.
Okay, Capricious.
Did I finally answer all your questions?
Not really, but I'll get to you privately and we'll go over them, I'm sure. Capricious, did you have a question for David? Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Hi, David.
Gone.
Have you been able to determine the jurisdiction of the original trustee?
The what?
The jurisdiction of the original trustee.
Trustee is a lesser office than executor. What are you asking me?
Well, the former trustee. That's what I mean. The jurisdiction of the former.
What former trustee? There is no former trustee. There's none been appointed by the executor. You've never appointed anyone as trustee. There are two trustees, Mom and Dad.
Okay. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Did you take over the trust, or did you move it as well?
No, we don't have to take over or move anything. You don't have to do anything.
Sounds more like you're claiming it.
It's real easy. Yeah, that's all you're doing. You're just notifying him. Hey, wait a minute. I understand what this is. This is an estate, and I understand my position. I occupy the executrix office. Who in the hello are you people?
Right.
That's all you got to do. You don't have to file any notices. There's none of this notice stuff. I was listening to Dave Mack's broadcast, and they're going to Ron Class's broadcast, and they got a new this and a new that, and they're going to do this, and they're going to do that, and they're going to go into court, and they're going to do a test case, and they're going to do all this stuff. It's all confusion. And I'm not criticizing those folks. They're well-intended. Some of us, I don't get along with some of them, but I know that their hearts are in the right place, you know. But they're just, what they're doing is they're pursuing remedies that the barflies have programmed into your mind to pursue. And they lead nowhere. They're rabbit holes.
I agree with that.
They just are. And they're not that way because I say they are. They are that way because trust law says they are. I'm not telling you these things, and I'm not arguing this, and I'm not taking this position from a position of what David Clarence thinks. I'm communicating to you the principles and maxims of trust law, and those things I understand very well. I've spent a lifetime studying them.
Okay, Capricious, was that it for you, or what?
That'll do it. Thanks.
Okay. Thanks. We're going to move on. We're going to North and West Colorado. Go ahead.
Hi, Angela.
Hi.
Hi, David. I have a couple of questions. I'm kind of confused here. If I were to sign a letter to the IRS, that would be in the all caps name, but would I sign it my upper and lower case as?
Yes, you are always the upper and lower case.
Okay, now.
David Clarence Schroll would be capital D, capital C, capital S, and all of the rest of the name in lowercase. The way we're properly taught to write our names.
Okay.
That's executor. And when you write to them, you don't write as who you are. It's the office of executrix, dear.
Yes.
To the office of that IRS official, and then the occupant of that office, whoever transmitted the document to you, whether they're stating it or not, they're functioning in an office. They're all offices. And to be in the position of power and to communicate with them properly, and it must be from office to office. Please understand that, folks. And know this is not a weapon of revenge. And know you can't demand that they pay you this and pay you that, and you've got this UCC lien of 280 trillion quadrupled billions of dollars, and they got to pay it. No. You're going to have to operate soberly,
Yeah, realistically.
realistically, and conservatively. This
okay,
is
would
not
I say
a
by my upper and lowercase, or I would just sign
no.
it? You don't
Oh
use
yes,
by
you
like
always
you do in
sign
bank?
everything BY colon.
Right. Okay.
Look at that PDF file
Okay.
that we created for you.
All right.
And all you're going to do is you're going to substitute your all capitalized name, your upper and lowercase name, and your mailing location. Just be sure. Please follow the format that I put there for you, and make sure that if your home address is 150 Main Street, that you write Main Street -150, and then the town. And those are all in upper and lowercase. The only thing that's going to be in uppercase, all uppercase, is the estate name, the one off of the certificate of birth or the Social Security card.
Okay, now my birth certificate happens to be in upper and lowercase.
I've heard of instances where that is in fact.
Mine too, yeah.
And, however, I do have, others have heard me say this before, but on the back of one of the birth, my first birth, I was born in 1930. So it was a half a page. And later when I got
that's the long.
Huh?
That's the long form. Yeah, yes.
When I got, yeah. Later they put it on a full page, and on the back of one of them it said, owned by, and it had my name in caps.
There you go.
There you go. Owned by the estate. They just didn't put the word estate after that all capitalized name.
Yeah, but
those
so are they
rascals,
saying I, the human,
rats.
upper and lowercase, I'm owned by the estate?
No, you're not owned by anything.
Well, yeah, but it says...
You, the living being, are owned by your creator, and that's all.
Right, but this birth, on the back of the birth certificate, it says owned by...
But the all capitalized name owns the estate.
Yeah, right.
I heard on,
I
don't know if it was Dave Mack's broadcast or Ron Classes, but somebody said that they contacted the state agency that issued a certificate of birth, and they asked them who owns that certificate of birth, and the response was the state does.
Yeah, well, that's what I've always heard.
Okay. Yeah, well, they're saying state. Okay. Which one?
Just put an E.
Yeah, just put an E in front of that word, and now it makes sense to you. See? Now, they're just programmed to say what they're saying. They've been taught to say that. Well, the state owns it. Isn't that what we're taught? The state is God. See? The state rules over us. The state is all-powerful.
All property is with the state.
Yeah. All property is with the E-state.
Yeah. They left the
It's
E.
the E-state.
Right.
And they just dropped the E off the front of that word.
So if you
State
got
and E-state mean the same thing. They really do. An estate is a state. An E-S-T-A-T-E is a state. S-T-A-T-E is what I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Fear.
Okay, this general post office, how do you get them to receive your mail if that's what you put it?
You mean, how do I get them to receive our mail?
Well, usually it comes United States Post Office, and I know the general post office is still there, but you have to get your local...
No, well, you're going to have resistance by the Postal Service employees at the post office.
Right.
They don't want to recognize General Post Office. I'm guaranteeing you that's there. That's in the postal treaties. It's there. General Post is there. These Postal Service employees, their Bible is the DMM, Domestic Mail Manual. General Post Office ain't in there. General Delivery is. Okay? They will not question the mail piece being addressed to General Post Office as long as the street location is there. And when you put -9998 after that zip code, that's going to the post office department side of the postmaster at that location. That's his zip code or her zip code. The normal zip code -9998 is the general post office.
I thought you
side.
Sounds like you just said 8 there instead of 4 9s. Or did you say 9998?
9998. Please get our example PDF document before you do anything. Okay.
Nancy, did you see it? I posted the link.
I didn't because I didn't even. Well,
okay.
I was.
Well, it's on the website. If you go to the tonight after our call, I'll have a new call notes up there with the link to it. But if you just go to the call notes page and scroll down a little bit to where David Clarence was on a couple weeks ago, whenever it was, last month, and you go to the link there, it says info or call notes. It's right at the top of that page.
Wonderful.
Let me interrupt you. Three times now I've thought about, I need to tell you this. So let me interrupt you too.
Okay.
The 3 most important parts of this letter is, A, it's from the estate. It's being transmitted by the Executor office. It's to the office of the party you're communicating with that sent you their paperwork, no matter what it is. It doesn't matter. A warrant, summons, notice, collection, it doesn't matter. One of the most critical parts of this is look on that PDF file, and you will see where I've taken the number off of the registered mail receipt. The sticker itself, it's detachable from that registered mail receipt, and I put it on the face of that letter. By doing that, you're certifying the document that you're sending to them. This is a powerful tool, folks. We've had a completely different response from IRS and Treasury by doing that versus not doing it previously.
So you're not sending
that little
a registered
sticker,
mail.
It's the number. It detaches off of that registered mail sticker.
Right.
You put it on that document. Then you take it to a notary public, and you have it notarized. You sign it in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Then you scan that cotton picker, or at least photocopy it in color. I want you to do it in color. I would like you to print everything in blue if you can, but I want you to do it in color so that sticker shows up vividly, that it is the letter, the number sticker, and not just something typed in there, say, on the copy. Mm-hmm. And you make copies of that. You send a copy of it to the state governor's office, Office of Executor to Office of the Governor. You send another copy to the State Attorney General's office, from Office to Executor to Office of the Attorney General. And you just send those regular mail.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about whether they'll get them or not. They'll get them. You send the certified copy to whoever sent you the paperwork, and what you're doing is returning all their abandoned paperwork, because they abandoned it when they transmitted it to the estate, the executor's office, with no authority. They have no claim that they can bring against the estate. It's not possible. It's impossible. They cannot bring a claim. I don't care what you signed. It matters not what you did yesterday, what you said, what you admitted. I'm not sure you can get yourself out of prison doing this. You might be able to.
Can you get
but it matters not.
Off?
It doesn't matter whether the children and youth took your children. It doesn't matter if you had a lawyer. Your lawyer will resign from the case if you have one. and you won't have to ask them to. You just tell them that you're now functioning in the executor's office for that all-capitalized name as estate. You won't have a lawyer any longer, and you don't need one.
Well, I don't have one, and I never have.
Yeah.
All righty.
Thank
Is that
you.
good for you?
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah. I just want to know if it would get off a levy.
Yeah, I know.
It may. I'm not sure dealing with the IRS if that'll work or not.
Well, can't
it's
you
a
make
little
a demand as the?
No.
You can't.
You make no demands for anything other than their authority to administer the estate.
Okay.
If you folks tweak this, I can guarantee you, if you tweak it and try and go to war with them.
No. Okay.
And to make demands of them, that you want this, you want that, you want this returned, you want that returned, it probably won't work for you.
And you don't want to accuse them of fraud?
No.
Okay.
Why accuse them of anything?
Okay.
They haven't committed any fraud. You're the one that's fraudulent because you haven't functioned in the office.
Well, I haven't operated in any legal place.
No, you haven't. You haven't.
No, they haven't.
Stood in. Yes, they have. They have complete authority to do what they've been doing. Because you've been malfeasant and misfeasant and not functioning in the office of executor, dear. It's your fault.
I have one last
theirs.
question, if I can. It's about a W-8 Ben, which I did put, in the point date of death, which was birth date, which, listening to you, that sounds correct.
Nope.
Nope.
Wrong date.
The file date is the date?
That's the date of death.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, you said the birth date. No, wait a minute. You said the birth date.
Oh, all right. But at any rate, a lot of people got their status back, and they just sent me all the paperwork back.
Sent you what?
They sent me everything I sent them back, whereas other people that did it just like I did it got it accepted.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, okay.
And
Thank you.
And they did. And Angela, I didn't hear what she said. What did they do to her?
I didn't hear it either.
They sent me back all of my paperwork 1 year later, period, without acting on it.
Okay. And what was your goal?
My goal was to establish myself as a foreign state. The wrong way, I guess.
You are always foreign to them, dear. You're a living being with landmarks. And your
I
state
don't
is
have
always
landmarks.
so.
They didn't take my footprint.
You don't.
I was born before they did that.
Ah. But you have them.
Well, yeah, I mean, I could go walk on the land in my bare feet, but they don't have them on the birth certificate.
That's right. You can leave your landmarks, the imprint of your landmarks behind you as you walk, and they cannot.
Right.
Okay. Let's move on. Thanks, Nancy. Okay. Next up, I'm sorry.
The estate is still there, dear. Whether they have your footprints or not.
Kokomo Joe, I unmuted
David,
you.
Angela.
Hi.
All property, like real property, your house, your land, is all in the name
You're
of the
breaking up.
executor.
I can't hear you.
All property is in the name of the executor, like land and appurtenances, etc.
All property is in the name of the estate.
Or I'm sorry,
The
in the name of
executor
the
owns
estate.
nothing. The executor owns nothing, and if you claim to own anything, you may find yourself prosecuted for fraud on your own estate. This is the goal. You own nothing. You control everything. The estate owns it all. It's not yours. Stop calling it your car, your horse, your truck, your home.
How does this
Yours.
apply to
It's the
like
estate.
property taxes or driver's license and things like this?
Everything. What name's on the driver's license?
In all caps name.
Yep.
Yeah,
The executor. The executor. A certificate of birth and a driver's license is proof of the existence of the estate and the executor's office. It's not proof of a living being. Never has been. But it's the proof of those two entities, the estate and the office.
So people could drive then. Basically, doesn't that put, if we're operating as an executor, doesn't that make us like the king trustee?
You're not operating. You're functioning in the office, sir.
Or functioning in the office. Okay, so then we're administrating the office
yes,
of executor?
The executor. Yes, you could look at it that way, that the executor administers the estate, yes. And you're the only one who has authority to do that. Unless you've specifically delegated the authority to someone else. No one else can trespass on that authority. And these speakers know that.
Then the million-dollar question is, do we need driver's license and tags and pay taxes on property?
What does it matter? Actually, you don't. Actually, you don't.
I mean, can this be used in that fashion, which is one of the...
But no, do not. And I've told folks this for many years. Forget about this travel issue. So many people get tied up in this. Well, I want to travel without a license, without insurance, without registration, this and that. You need to take baby steps. You get through the infancy. You've got to reprogram your mind, retrain yourself, acquire the ability to look at everything from a different perspective. You've got to own the subject before you try and exert or function without registrations and licensing, things like that.
Okay, what can this be? I'm sorry. What can this be used for then? I mean, is this for like paying debts for taxes, or what really is this? What really is this
I don't know.
used for?
It's used for everything.
Well, right, but I mean,
there's nothing lawful that the estate cannot function in. There's nothing lawful that the executor or executrix office cannot do. Can you discharge debts? Can you pay bills? Can you live off of this? Yes
That's
and
my
no.
question. Okay.
Yes. Yes, I know. I understand. The answer is yes and no. Yes, you can. No, you can't, because you don't own it yet. You're not competent to do that.
So there's obviously a line here somewhere, and that line is drawn based on your experience and how well you administer.
You're breaking up, sorry. You ended after a line.
Oh, so in other words, there's a line that will move with your skill and ability to administrate the executor position.
Yes, to administer the estate. Yes. Once you acquire the knowledge and discernment and experience to how to do that properly, then your wings will unfold.
Okay, then.
And
okay.
And
then
you'll be able
there's always
to do other things.
Okay, there's always the case then, and
repeat that. I'm sorry, I was talking and we're over talking each other, and it breaks you.
Yeah, the internet delay, I suppose. Okay, so anyway, there's always, as always happens, people go to court, they get in front of the judge, they do everything right, and they are ignored. And they move forward.
And they won't believe it.
Right.
So they have to own it. I said if you're gonna be intimidated with the threat of your children being taken, your home, or you put in jail by that lying lawyer, you're gonna lose. So don't even try it. Just pay the bill, pay the revenue, pay the tribute, give them whatever they want. Forget about it until you're ready to do it.
Okay, but the question is, how does one approach it when, you know...
Hold on a second. I've got a Skype error message here that's telling me I've encountered a problem and need to close. But we haven't gotten blocked off yet, have we?
I don't know. I still hear David.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to park that little error message down in the corner there and not pay attention to it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, okay, so you're ready to go to bat. Okay, you're ready to take it all away. All right. What methods, what approach, okay, is needed? What do we have available? Because it seems to me at that point, now you have to dig into some kind of law because there's going to be a suit, okay, where you actually have to prove to them that you are who you say you are or they are not who you claim they are.
Even though I'm muting you out here on my end, you keep breaking up, so I can't hear you, what you're saying. I'm getting bits and pieces of what you're saying.
Can you repeat that to him, Angela?
You're asking me a whole long question. And I missed about 70% of that. You said something about method, there's a question, you're going to be challenged, or something like that?
Did you catch all that, Angela, or should I try to do it again?
Yeah, try it again.
Okay. So what happens is a person gets in the court, they're ready to go all the way.
Breaking up, can't hear you.
Okay, hold on a second.
Last thing I heard was you said okay.
He says, okay, so a person gets into court, and what else?
And you're ready to go all the way, and they ignore you. At some point, you need to get into the law books to sue them to prove that you are who you say you are, and they are not who they claim they are.
You can't bring a suit from your estate into their court. You don't have the standing in there. The estate has no standing in the courts of the world because the estate is the court.
Okay, what, oh wow, okay, what are the roots to, what is the criteria and the roots to that conclusion?
Look up the definition of court in Black's Law Dictionary.
Well, it's a tribunal, but I mean, go ahead.
It's the definition of court in Black's Law Dictionary is the suit of the sovereign with their regal retinue, wherever they may be.
Right.
Is the court. That's saying suit of the estate.
Oh, suit of the estate. I thought it was the person or something, the suit of the...
You cannot bring that suit in the barfly world courts. And they're all barfly world courts. Every court that you can think of in existence at this moment is a fraudulent, artificial, make-believe court system. It's not court. And the estate has no standing in there. The defendant or the plaintiff, fictional entity in that realm can go into that court and file suit. But by doing that, you abandon the estate and your true power and authority. That's exactly what the fallen angels did. See, they abandoned the estate of the kingdom of heaven.
Okay, we're going to move on. Did you want to say anything else, David, to that?
No.
All right, go ahead. Northeast California, you had a question?
Let me finish this.
All right.
If you're going to approach them with the idea that they're going to ignore you, you've already lost.
Right.
Who in the hell are they to ignore you? I already told you. They will regard you as Almighty God, as they regard God, functioning in that office of Executor, Executrix. You might get a nasty barfly They'll try and resist that. Listen to me. You already know this. They're masters at twisting language and words, and they're the deceivers. They are the occupants of the only office in Scripture that's specifically condemned. Woe unto ye lawyers. They are snakes. They are deceivers. They have deceit and intimidation as their tools.
Right.
Which one are you going to fall for?
Okay, Northeast California. Did you have a question for David?
Yeah. Hey, Dave. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty cotton picking good. How about yourself?
This is Al. I don't know if you remember.
Hey, Al.
Yeah.
Of course I do.
Okay. Well, man, you're a hard man to reach these days.
Busy.
Tried to call you and try to Skype you. And
busy.
Hey, it sounds like at least you're still alive and doing well. Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a question?
Sounds like you got switched over to the commerce world now.
No, this is not commerce.
Is that okay?
It may sound like
Treasury
commerce.
account, is that the legacy account? Is that what that is?
No.
Is that something totally different?
That's the next step.
Oh, the legacy account is the next step up. Okay.
That's the next
so
step.
I was just curious. I mean, what this direct treasury account would that be the same thing as Would that be the same thing as the prepaid treasury account? Is that the same thing, or is that different?
The Treasury Direct account or the Legacy account?
The direct. Is that the same thing as prepaid treasury account?
No, but it leads to it.
Oh, it leads to that. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, hey.
The prepaid account is the assets of the estate.
Uh-huh. So, well, I know a lot of people have been trying to tap into that prepaid treasury account for quite a while now. And, obviously, you know, we or the people are just not authorized to take control and operate that account for some reason.
They're not functioning in the office of executor or executrix.
Uh-huh. I see.
So,
all right. Well, that's all the question I have. Dave, it's good to hear you again, bud. Maybe one of these days I can reach you. If not so busy, and we'll chat.
Okay.
All right, thanks so much. Okay, we're going to move along here. Agapetre. Is that right? Did I say that right? Agapetre? Agape tree. Well, Agapetre. Did you have a question for David? Okay, if not, we're going to move on. Hello? I guess they're...
I'm here. I have my mic
there you
muted.
Go. Okay. That's all right.
It's Agape Tray.
Agape Tray. Okay. I was close.
Yeah. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Okay.
There you go.
Yes, sir. Mr. Clarence, first of all, really enjoyed...
No misters here, just David.
David. Okay. Enjoyed the call tonight. One of the things that I hear is...
You're breaking up, sir. Last word I heard was enjoyed.
He said he enjoyed the call tonight. And one of the things that he hears... Go ahead.
Is that we must own it. I understand what you're saying now. I understand the problem. I understand
have to be competent.
The problem. Exactly. And what we've been doing is we've been operating out of order and not in the office of the executive.
Now I dropped off, Angela.
He said we have been operating out of order and not in the office of the executor.
Yes, out of order, in dishonor. of the estate.
My question is, when we utilize this process as executor, do we, on your paperwork, I noticed that you put periods after every in the salutation. Yes.
Yes, every line. Yeah, that's
every
so
line
the lawyer
must have
can't.
a period.
Yes, that's so the lawyer can't presume authority to add to that line.
I understand. That was my question. So the whole thing.
When you say something that you mean, or mom and dad told you something that they meant, they said period.
Period. Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
They
my
were
last
functioning
question.
in the office when they were doing that to you.
I understand.
See? Yeah.
Because they have the authority. They have the authority.
They do. Yeah. Granted by the Almighty.
And that was my last question.
That's all these estates. That's all these estates are, a recognition in the world of the authority of the Almighty.
Okay. Last question, you led into it. When the parents who operated as executors of the estate had passed, and you are now taking control of your estate as the executor, in this process that we're going to learn, can you
now he dropped off after the word executor.
Oh, gosh. I don't know why that's happening.
Okay, you tell him, you translate for me, Angela. What I was asking was, how far back can the executor...
How far back can the executor
I can hear you now.
The executor of the estate go back to in the lineage of those who had authority over his estate before?
There is no limit. Very, very astute of you, young man, to perceive that concept. You are the oldest son of your current family unit. By law, is the executor over the parents and grandparents and great-grandparents' estates. The law is the first in line is the first in time. So if you step up, even though I have an older brother, he has no... I bounce this stuff off of him, but he doesn't get it.
I understand.
I'm the younger brother, and I don't really have the standing of the estates of my parents, and I'm about to access those, probably in about a month. I understand where you're going with this. I have the authority to do that because my brother's not functioning in the office of executor. He's misfeasant and malfeasant.
I understand what you're doing now. It makes sense.
Angela?
Yes.
You want to drop this Skype contact? Can you Skype call me, my phone number, and bring me in? Maybe that won't break up.
I don't know. We've only got 2 calls, 2 more questions, and we're almost to the 3rd hour. Is that happening for you on everything?
Yeah, it keeps breaking up. You want to try call my phone?
No,
bring me in that way.
I don't know if I can do that. I might lose the call. I might drop the whole call.
Oh, okay, all right.
I'm worried to do that. I'd rather just translate for you if I have to.
Okay.
Okay, Agape Trey. Did you have anything else?
That he answered my question. My last question.
I'm very interested in talking to you, young man. You seem to have a grasp of this.
I've been at this now for almost 10 years, so I'm really hanging on every word you say.
It makes sense to you, doesn't it? You get it.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yes, and I can tell by the tonality of your voice that you understand it comes from your Creator.
Right.
Yeah.
I go back to the story of Esau, the story of Esau and Jacob.
Exactly.
And the whole undergirding of how that happened. It's amazing.
Yep. See what they've done to us in this world system? They've made us all Esau's.
Yeah.
See what they've done to us. They've gotten through their delusion. What does the word say? My children are destroyed for a lack of knowledge.
For lack of knowledge.
See?
Correct.
God
said that He would send them a strong delusion when they wouldn't accept Him.
Yes. And hasn't He done that?
Amazing.
Hasn't He warned us?
This is a delusion. Very interesting.
He also says that at some point all truth will be revealed. And I especially, Timothy and I see this, not just with what we're doing, but with the research that the commerce people and Rod Class, a lot of people that are turning up this knowledge and information discernment, how we're gaining a new perspective on learning and dealing with this world system. That these are truly those times when we will know the truth, and the truth shall set us free.
I will email you and get in touch with you later.
Good.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for coming on the call. We're going to move on. Let's see here. Tiber.
County Notary, all one word, COUNTYNOTARY @gmail.com.
Okay, Tiber, did you have a question for David?
Hello, David. Hello, Angela.
Hi.
Canada boy here. I was chasing a claim of right and a notice of intent and a hold harmless and identify agreement and a security agreement to secure my... And now I'm looking at an express common law trust. And I just heard...
Why do you want to... I'm chuckling because why do you want to create all this? See, those are commerce concepts that are...
That's what I thought. That's how I thought that we could achieve remedy, because I've only been studying this for about 9 months. I've read Cracking the Code, UC Articles 1 and 3, and Remedy for a Cure, and a whole bunch of other articles.
Mm-hmm.
And I've
Excuse me one second. Yeah, excuse me one second. I have to go talk to my son real quick, so you guys go ahead and have your conversation. I'll be right back.
My question was, how does a Canadian guy get that letter to the CRA to set up his estate and become the executor of that?
You're not going to set up any estates. It's already there. And this applies anywhere on this planet where the individual has a certificate of birth.
Okay.
Anywhere. Especially the United States and Canada.
Yeah, I was born in Manitoba. So 2 provinces over from me. So I'd have to contact somebody in Manitoba and direct them that I'm now going to take over the executive.
You don't have to contact anyone. You just respond to their paperwork.
Yeah, with that letter that you've drafted here, and I'm looking at it. It's a very tight letter. But, again, it's all directed for the U.S., so... That was my general question on any Canadian direction. That letter that you drafted is directed for the U.S., so I was just wondering if there's any Canadian relevance to that.
You keep breaking up. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Last thing I heard was the word letter that I drafted.
Is geared for U.S., IRS, not the CRA in Canada, so I would not know how to go about doing this, setting up this whole thing, like pursuing the information to file the documents and everything. Hello?
What documents do you want to file, young man?
Well, you said we have to mail this...
you just want to return their paperwork and stop what they're doing.
Correct. So in order to do that, we send off this letter saying, I am giving you back your paperwork, private law barcode, enroll you...
You keep breaking up. The last part I heard was something about office or something.
I'm back. So
I'm not sure where to... Again, you just said you directed us to send this letter saying that we're giving them back their abandoned paperwork. In Canada...
He broke up again.
He said
I direct.
To,
send that letter in.
To the office? Whoever transmitted the paperwork to you, that's a nuisance.
I see.
Is occupying an office.
Yeah, I would contact
you. Return the paperwork to the office, care of the individual.
Right, and that was 48 years ago.
Follow yeah.
So I have to find out probably Statistics Canada and find out which office mailed it out and find out who mailed it.
That's your Dutchman dollar. Whatever that issue is, it's the last you'll hear of it.
Right, okay. All right, then. Well, I'll try and scratch into this paperwork some more and figure it out.
I'm a fan of Richard Menard.
Yeah, that's what got me started in all this.
Robert Menard?
Yeah, that's what got me started in all this, was Robert Menard.
He's been excommunicated, disenfranchised up there.
Yep.
You get this information to him, and he uses this and functions from the executor's office. He'll get it all back. Okay, I'll pass this forward to him and let him know. All right, well, thank you for your time, and hopefully once Robert gets his teeth into this, he can help give us some Canadian direction.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
But tell him not to go to war with it.
Oh, he's not one that does that.
War, you're going to get war. Yeah, do not use war tactics. Do not go to war with these people. Try and make peace with them.
Oops.
To leave you alone.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Typer.
Okay, thank you, Jen. No, I would not go to war with these people. I have problems with them right now. They rejected my driver's license because I included a UCC1 addendum on my signature. They said it's not a legal signature. I would need a court order. But that's all well and good. Okay, well, thank you for your time, Angela and Dave. Have a good night.
All right, thank you so much for coming on the call.
I enjoyed it. Thanks.
Always good to hear from Canada.
UCC1's not working. You can't. You folks, do not try and intermix these state procedures with commerce tactics and UCC stuff. You're going to just scuttle it. You defeat it. You won't succeed. They're two different law forms. They do not intermix. Forget about the commerce and the UCC stuff.
All right, we got Georgia. Go ahead, Georgia. Do you have a question for David?
Yes, I'm looking at this paperwork here, and I'm getting the sense from you that this is as it were, defensive tactic. I mean, we're just if they're bothering us about something, we share this with them. We don't worry about it otherwise.
She says if they're bothering us with something, what was it, ma'am?
We don't bother with it otherwise. This is just if they're trying to harass us with something.
Yes. Will this work if you're already in garnishment under IRS? They have liens against you. They're about to sell your home. I don't know. Try it. We don't have any experience with that. We don't know. It may or may not. Just don't modify the format of the letter. Don't add page 2, page 3. I'm going to do this. If you don't do that, you got to do this because of this and this and that. Don't add to it.
Mm-hmm.
It works the way it is. Leave it alone.
I was looking at your. Is this all on your county notary highest office in law is actually what I looked under on the Google search, and that's how I came up with this on a page. Is this the place where we learn about what you're sharing? Is there somewhere else I would need to go?
Learn more about how to do this and what to do it. There's information on there that is relevant to this. There's in the file sections there are trustee handbooks and things like that in PDF format. That's how the executor operates in the executor office. Teaches you how to do that.
I guess she's in the right place. What? She would just go to your Google group?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go in the file section.
Okay, so I could learn more about what you're doing. Somebody encouraged me to get on your call, and I never heard of you before, and I never knew. But it sounded like you might have a pretty good handle on what we're trying to understand. So thank you very much.
You're very welcome, dear.
Thank you for coming on. Okay, we're gonna move on. I'm sorry. Thank you. Let's see here. Non-member. Go ahead, non-member. Did you have a question for David Clarence?
Hello.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, David.
You're real muffled though.
Okay, is that better?
I hear a lot of echoey and stuff in the background, so I don't know.
Okay. Can David hear me clearly?
Now I can.
Okay. I was going over on the Dunn site, and it was asking me.
Now you're silent.
Yeah, it got muffled out again. Try it again.
Okay. I was on the Dun and Bradstreet website, and I was looking under the countries, and I noticed that they had for the Vatican, they had Holy See as in SEE, all in lowercase.
Yep, they sure do, don't they?
And everything else wasn't.
I heard part about they have the whole. Yeah.
So I was looking for that what did you say you called it, the minor outlying islands. They didn't have it in that section for the Dun and Bradstreet.
Like I said, not everywhere on the internet where you're filling out a form will that be an option. United States minor outlying islands. That won't be there. You can abbreviate those by the capital letter M and the capital letter U as the abbreviation for the United States minor outlying islands.
So just MU or M dot U M period?
No. Capital M, capital U, no periods.
Okay.
Like AZ or PA.
Okay.
Or MD.
Well, on the DOT, I went out there. They don't have that how would you say it, that option anymore.
No, they don't. They do have other or unknown.
Yeah, other unknown. Yeah, they have other unknown. That's what I use.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
That's what they're saying without putting the United States minor outlying islands in there.
I see. Okay.
Well, it's they don't have a country designation. At least I don't believe they do. But all the states listed on the DOT there are all corporate states. But see, the estate is not located there. The estate is located on the land that you're standing on. And all those choices that you have in there are all corporate fiction states. So in order to give you a remedy to that, to designate your being located on the land, they put the word other for the state name in there.
Oh, okay. I think I've been listening to quite a bit.
I can't hear you.
Okay, I've been listening to quite a bit of your archives and so forth, and then you give a lot of.
Troy breaking up, Angela.
Well,
I can't hear.
Okay, he's saying he's been listening to a lot of the archives.
Okay.
And what else?
And you mentioned you give out a lot of nuggets.
And you mentioned you give out a lot of nuggets. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're in there.
And I believe I might have found the big nuggets, but I'm not positive, and I'm not sure if you'd want me to say it over the air. But
sure.
Maybe I just email it to you.
No,
why
go
not?
Ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. The nuggets are there for you to find.
Well, from my interpretation and analysis of those archives, is you want people to figure it out for themselves, than someone just to come out and say it.
Yes, then they'll own it.
So I get the truth, what you're saying about that, so people understand what they're doing, and if they're confronted, they know what to say.
Yes.
Rather than, let's say, well, this is, grab a glass of water and drink it, and they don't know what's even inside the water.
All right. So is there anything else?
That's it. That's all.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for coming on the call.
Uh-huh.
All righty. We're going to move on to West Central Illinois. Go ahead. Did you have a question for David?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Uh-oh. How'd you do tonight, my friend?
How are you doing?
I'm well, and yourself?
I'm pretty cotton picking good.
You handled
handled it well. See?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, did you have a question or what?
No, I just called to, I guess, tell this man that I'm out here listening. At least the tail end of this lesson.
Timothy. Folks, this is the smart guy.
Yeah, that was given to me. That's not my own.
Yeah, he said he just wanted to call in at the tail end of this call and let you know he was out there listening. David's having a hard time hearing you, West Central Illinois.
Yeah, that Comcast has got to go. You're welcome.
Okay, good. All right, we have one more question. Let's get on to it. Kokomojo, go ahead.
Oh, hi. Can I ask one final? I wasn't aware that I was up again, but as long as I am,
breaking up,
well, I'll tell you. Know what? Tell me what you want to say, and I'll tell
the person. The person and the state and the e-state are the same thing. I take it.
The person, the state, and the e-state are the same thing. I take it.
Well, I stuttered. It was I meant to say the person and the e-state must be the same.
Yes, the estate is a fictional entity. It is a person, a human being. Yes.
Okay. I looked up the definition in international law, okay, for the person and the suit of the sovereign, the place where the sovereign sojourns with his regal retinue, wherever that may be. So I figured since you said it was the estate, then the estate and the person must be the same.
Now I broke up. Last I heard
person and the estate.
Since I figured, and then I couldn't.
Well, he did a lot of research, and he has discovered that the person and the estate must be the same.
Right. I looked it up. I looked up the definition that he was talking about earlier.
He looked up the definition that you were talking about earlier.
I wouldn't disagree with that, but I would caution you, referring to the estate as a person. If the world system wants to do that, that's fine. It may not be completely inaccurate, but I would stick to the word estate.
Okay.
And
thank you. That's
you are functioning from the office of executor, executrix. That's all important. You cannot deviate from this.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, you're welcome. Well, that's
You're going out and you're working every day, interacting in the world as not as executor. You're some type of a matrix battery of some kind, asset of the world, laborer, goyim, cattle. All right, the living man or woman. In doing that, that's the only way they'll ever look at you, and all the paperwork you're trying to use and commerce techniques and notices and UCC filings are from that position, that standing as cattle. Incompetence. That's why they're lording over you is because you're incompetent in their eyes. You're not functioning in the executor or executrix office.
Okay. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions. And we've gone an hour and 8 minutes over our usual time. Did anyone else have a question? Press star 8. Otherwise, we're going to wrap this baby up. And David, I will get with you on Skype and we can go over this some more if you don't mind. Not necessarily tonight, but when you have the time.
You're breaking up, Angel.
Oh, my goodness. I don't know why that's happening. But anyway,
now I can hear you.
It's been a great call. We've gone almost 3 hours.
Now I can't.
Oh, gosh. Well, I don't know why that's happening. Next time I'll try something else.
Maybe the company doesn't like the subject.
Maybe. I know they've made it difficult to get into the chat and into TalkShoe. I've had several Skypes on the side saying they were having a hard time getting in.
These are the subjects Timothy and I were covering when they banned us from TalkShoe again.
Was it these topics?
Yes, the state. Yeah.
Well, we had a whole bunch of trolls in the chat. I had to keep muting them out. But I was ready for it. I wasn't...
Critics?
Oh, yeah, you know. People say you're a rip-off and a scam artist and go read this complaint and that, you know, type of stuff and whatever. That's
Lou. Lou Poop.
Oh, well.
Lou's got the right name, last family name, Poop. A lot of wine. Doesn't serve any cheese with his wine. That's all right. Let the critics say what they want, folks. I've already responded to all that stuff before. I'm not asking you for a nickel. I'm not going to. They can say what they want. If they're going to tell you that I have the name has a criminal history, that's old history. They can say what they want. If they're going to suggest that those barfly courts produce a decision that's based on justice, that it's a true trial where you can actually defend yourself, they're idiots. You know, it's just ludicrous. The people who know me know that I'm a man of integrity and honesty. I am a sinner, a condemned sinner, but I just have not gone through my life harming people. I don't. It's not my nature to do that. It just isn't. And the record reflects what it is, but the fact of the matter is, if I hadn't spent all those years in solitary confinement with law books and scripture, I wouldn't be telling you the things I am today. Those were crosses that I had to bear to get to the point where I am in my life and understanding, knowledge and discernment and things like that, and that I don't have a problem with it. For those who do have a problem with it, kiss my crippled butt for all I care.
We have one more question. Go ahead, Capricious.
Hey there, David. Capricious again. I was just wondering if you have you exercised your discretion thus far with your since you got your notification?
I caught part of that. Sean, you said, have I exercised my discretion? In what respect?
With your new identification.
No, I'm not interested in exercising anything per se. My main goal is to come out of the system. I don't believe I'll be able to drag the name out of this system, the all caps name. But attempting to do is get the powers to be, so to be, to recognize my standing as a child of Yahweh, separate from them, immune to their nonsense, and operate in the office of Executor and operate the estate for the benefit of my brothers and sisters.
Wonderful.
That's kind of what I meant, if you'd actually been able to use it yet.
There are things in the works as we speak.
We're going to be keeping an eye on you, David, and watch how you progress.
I'm fairly confident we have managed to cash in a Social Security card.
Wow.
And access those funds.
Oh, really?
Coming in the mail.
Oh, fabulous.
That Treasury Direct account was one of those efforts. Contracting with the Federal Reserve is another one. Our interest in doing that is not to get into banking. Our interest in being recognized as a financial institution is to be able to transact two accounts and get people out of prison, stop foreclosures and things like that, and IRS levies through the Fed.
That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. All right, Capricious, was that it for you?
That'll do. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on. We've got one more. Go ahead, Georgia.
I was just looking at this trustee handbook and wondering about, I haven't gotten all the way through yet, trustees, beneficiary, interstate law. I saw only one or two sections on executor. Is that, I mean, do I just want to really on the whole book, or just look at that get to know that area specifically very well, or?
You have to master that book, ma'am.
Okay.
You've got to master Loring's or someone's trustee handbook.
Okay.
Then you will begin to own the issue, subject of the estate and functioning in the office of executrix.
Well, it's really neat what's going on. I know that our Father has a way of teaching His children what we need and when, and I'm very thankful.
Yes, He does, doesn't He?
Well, we're thankful that David came on and gave us his explanation of what he's done, kind of, sort of. We need more. It's never enough, right, David?
You're breaking up now, dear.
Oh, gosh. We need a couple more hours with you, David. I don't know why I'm breaking up. Everybody else can hear me just fine. Oh, I'm sorry. All right, well.
Now I can hear you.
I think we're going to wrap up the show. We've answered everyone's questions, I think. We're 2 minutes away from being on for 3 hours, which is an hour more than I usually stay on. But it was well worth it. I wanted to hear you out completely. And it's very intriguing what you're doing, and I want to learn more about it. Could you hear me?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Folks, invariably there are going to be those of you who are going to join these conferences tomorrow night that these lawmen and commerce gurus and people are putting on. Nothing I can say is going to stop you from doing that. I understand that. That's fine. But maybe I've given you, or my fondest desire is I've given you a different perspective from which you can now view what these men are telling you and what they're trying to sell you and this and that. you can do what you want to do. You don't have to listen to me. But invariably, like I said, those folks, for the most part, are well-meaning, and they're not intent on doing you any harm or this and that. They just really don't understand. That's all. Why do we understand and they don't? We don't know. We don't question it. We accept it as a blessing and treat it as that.
Yeah, well, you're just at a different level in your research, I think. It has a lot to do with it. I like to listen to all the different speakers out there because I think it rounds out my education. Doesn't mean I'm necessarily going to hang my hat on anything they say, but you never know. You get a golden tidbit here and there, a golden nugget, as the other gentleman said, and, we listen and we learn. And then we decide what path we're going to take.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And hopefully it's the right one.
Each individual will march to the beat of a different drummer.
Right. Georgia, did you have anything else to say? You've got your hand up again.
Yes. The class of trusts treated in this handbook are those trusts which are expressly created by deed or will. Which is this?
I understand that. Look at that Treasury direct letter. What does that say? It's the all caps name, and then it says trustee under the will of David Clarence Schroll, deceased. See, they're regarding it as a trust, and that's fine. And in reading those trustee handbooks, a lot of the references are going to be to worldly things like deeds and things like that, see. But you're completing this letter and transmitting it to the office that sent you the abandoned paperwork is the deed of the executor functioning in the office.
Okay, so they didn't. This trust was created by them giving me a deed?
The certificate of birth is, among other things, a deed, yes.
Okay.
It's a death certificate. It is a certification of a death or the creation of the estate.
So they decided that the baby that was born is dead and made an estate from that death and made an executor, which would probably be not known to the baby, and the baby's ignorant, probably even all his life, perhaps. And so that they can do whatever they see fit with it until we grow up enough to become sons, adults, and understand that we're executors. Yes.
Yes, you're correct. Yes, you're correct. All they're doing is they're recognizing that the Lord God Yeshua paid all the debts on the cross for everything. There are no debtors. So the world treats us as debtors because they want to steal the fruits of your labor, and they realize, they know that the Lord paid all the debts. So in my thinking or understanding of all this is that they're creating these estates as maybe an excuse on Judgment Day, something like that. I don't really know. But what it comes down to is they cannot, the world cannot go against the will of Yahweh in what they're doing. He won't allow them to do that. He constrains them. So the way they operate in deceit, okay, they're doing things deliberately so that they don't incur the anger of Yahweh. they're creating these estates so that they get away with being able to operate in the world the way they are. Otherwise, he would just put a stop to it. It really is that true and that simple.
So the law that brings us to understand our need for our Savior, this is like what's coming to my mind is this is like the law that's coming that's protecting us from, in a way, from they're like our Father, our paternal protection, as it were, until we come to maturity enough to take it ourselves. That's kind of the way they see themselves, as taking care of us. And then
probably is.
We grow up and we say, "Oh, well, I'm the executor here, and I need to take responsibility now." And then
yes.
after that, then they can't. They say, "Oh, well, we can't touch her anymore because she knows who she is."
Right.
Yes.
Okay. This is really.
You got it. You got it, dear.
Thank you, brother.
You got it.
Thank you.
Great. We've still got a couple more questions, but this is it, you guys. I got to go. I'm going to have to be with my son in a little bit. Thank you, Georgia. I appreciate you being on the call and having an aha moment. Non-member, go ahead. Non-member, did you have a question?
Yeah. When we sign any documents now, are we to write Office of Executor?
You're always to sign upper and lowercase, comma, Executor. Always. You sign BY colon.
Okay,
BY colon.
Upper and
BY
lowercase.
colon.
First and last?
Yes. BY colon, upper and lowercase, your full name, first, middle, and last, comma, Executor on everything.
Okay.
Even your checks.
Okay, is that Office of Executor?
Nope, it's just Executor. Just Executor.
Okay.
But whenever you communicate in writing, it's always going to be from the estate. The communication is coming from the estate by the Office of Executor.
Okay. All right, thank you.
And use those certified mail numbers.
Yes.
And get a green card. Once they sign for that, it's too late for them. They're done. They're finished. Read the website, United States Postal Service tracking. When you put that certified mail piece in the mail, it's designated as accepted. They've accepted the certified document. When they've signed for it, it's been received. It's too late. They've signed for it before they opened it and saw what was inside. They're done.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
I was signing the name as all lowercase, but you're saying it does have to be, the first letter does have to be.
He's breaking up, Angela.
He said he was signing everything all lowercase before.
Always writing in all lowercase is the best way.
Okay, how about for the signature? You said to do uppercase. Is lowercase
upper and lower?
That's the way that they'll recognize it in the world. You can sign it all lowercase.
Okay. All right.
David, give out your email again. People are asking for it.
County Notary, all one word. COUNTYNOTARY @gmail. That's Godmail, and our God is Almighty Yahweh. @gmail.com.
Okay. Okay. Got two more questions. Real quick. Georgia, go ahead.
Oh, did I hit it again?
Oh, did you? I guess. Did you want to ask another question?
Well, this is just so so neat. I sure appreciate you taking the time to share this with people.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, David.
Well, thank me. Thank your Creator, Yahweh.
And so we can email you with thoughts or questions as we go through and learn this stuff.
Yes, and what I'll do is I'll take what I think are the best ones, and I'll post it to the Google group in a response. You'll get the response, and then everybody that's a member of the group will get it also. I'll redact your email address and your name out of it.
Okay, so did I get into a Google group to get into this file?
Yeah, you have to join, though.
I have to.
You don't have to join. You don't have to join to access the files and messages that are on the group. It's just if you want to receive a posting that we transmit to the group about a subject, then you have to join the group.
Is there some kind of requirement to join the group?
No, just an email address.
Okay.
I ask that you either choose abridged or some type of email that you. If you choose no email in joining it, I will change that a few times. If you keep changing it back, I'll ban you. That's the only thing I asked.
I don't think she understands what you're saying, David. Just you have options on how you receive email from the groups. Sometimes you can choose to digest or individual emails, and he's just saying not to put on there. Don't make the option no email, or else they'll take you off.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's, why would she join if she wasn't intending on getting your emails, right, David? Anyway, okay. All right, great.
But anybody can go on the group and access all the messages that have been there, posted on there, and all the files are in the file section, and download them.
But if they want to get your email, they need to join the group.
If they want to be kept up to date in what we're doing in progress and things like that, and then they have to join the group. Yeah.
Okay, Kokomo Joe, go ahead. You had one more question?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. You're referring to, or a couple of people referred to Treasury Direct Letter. Is that the same as?
Okay, he said that a few people had referred to a Treasury Direct Letter.
Is that the same as the Estate Executor Office letter?
Yeah, that's the letter. Yeah.
It's the same letter then, right?
It's
They're referring
the same
to the same
letter.
Okay,
right.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay.
It's the most recently posted item in the file section.
Yeah, it's a PDF. It's there. All right, well, good. We have to close it out. I have to go be with my son. I love you, everybody. Thanks for coming on the call. David, thank you so much. I appreciate your patience and your taking the time to explain this stuff to us, because
I'll accept that on Timothy's behalf, and more importantly, our Father Yahweh's behalf.
Well, we need to learn.
Messenger.
Yeah, but it's good that you took the time to explain it to us. It's another tidbit we didn't know about before, and now we know, so we can pursue that. And you recommended everyone learn that. Which book was it? A trust book?
Lorraine's Trustee Handbook is one of them on there. I think there's several different ones.
Lori?
And you can find others on the internet.
Okay, so just a Trustee Handbook.
Yeah, just type in Trustee Handbook in any search engine. Lorraine's and others will come up. Free. You can download them PDF files.
All right, great. We will do that, and we'll have you on again and keep us up to date on what you're doing and any successes that come through. I'm
breaking up again.
I love hearing from you, David. So we'll have you on again. Can you hear me okay?
You're welcome, dear. Go function in the office of Mommy.
All right, I will. Thank you, everybody. I love you, and we'll see you on Sunday with John Stewart.
Hey, folks.
Good night, everyone.